Hi, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner. Thanks for stopping by. Looks like you're interested in setting up your weather radio. First, if you don't have a weather radio, you need to go out and get one. This is the part of the country that just is slammed sometimes by severe weather, and it happens any time of the year. And oftentimes our severe weather happens at night, late at night in fact, and the only warning that you might get would be from the alert from a severe weather radio. So, first off, if you haven't purchased one, go out and purchase one. You don't have to get anything fancy. They generally run about $25 to $30 on the low end, and it should have you covered. Now, weather radio technology has changed over the years. At one point, you just got a warning for your area. It didn't matter whether or not it was 2 counties over or your county, you still got the same tone, you still got the same message. Well, then the technology improved, and we had weather radios that came out with something called SAME technology. That stands for Specific Area Message Encoder, and that meant that your weather radio was able to specifically alert you for the counties that you cared about. But the process of setting up the weather radio was a little bit cumbersome. You had to go out, you had to find the code, and then you had to program that into your weather radio. And that can be a little bit tricky. Well, that process has gotten even easier with the latest weather radios that are out there on the market. This one being a Midland 120EZ that you can pick up very cheaply at Walmart's or Target's or your local hardware store even probably has this for roughly $25 to $30. And now these weather radios will actually, you can go through and program them very easily to specifically alert you for the counties that you care about without actually having to go out and find that same code. So let's get to it, start you off on how to program your weather radio. Well, we've got it out of the box now, and the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you've got batteries in it, and it takes 3 AA batteries. And the reason why you need to have these batteries, it's basically a backup power source in case your power gets knocked out during severe weather. You don't want to have severe weather rolling through and your only means of being alerted to it is your weather radio, and it's not powered because your electricity is out. I can hear that it's already on, making some noise there so that we know that the batteries are put in correctly. You can see right there that the LED display has lit up very nicely, and the next step that we're going to take is we're going to make sure that not only we have the battery power, but we also need to make sure that it's powered through a power strip connected to an outlet on your wall. So you need to choose a place in your house where this is going to be most effective at alerting you, especially think late at night, TV's off, or the radio's off, and the only means of alert is going to be possibly in your bedroom where you're sleeping. So bedroom typically is a good spot for your weather radio. You'll want to find a spot that's close to an outlet, and you'll want to make sure that you don't plug this directly into the outlet. You want to actually plug it into a power strip, and the reason why is we get a lot of lightning with these storms, and sometimes that can actually cause a power surge and knock out your weather radio. All right, now watch your display very closely here as we step through these steps. The first thing that we're going to have to do is set the language. And you can see when you first power up this device, that's the first option that you have, set language. So we're going to hit select. English is what we want. Or if you're Spanish speaking, you could pick Spanish. But right now we're going to pick English. And the next step would be to set our location. So we're currently going to hit select again. Now, if you wanted to get all the alerts for all of the area, you could have it set to any, but that's not what we're going to do. We're going to have it set to single. Now, if you care about a couple of counties, you could set it to something called multiple. In some cases, people live maybe right on the county line, or they care about their county and they care about the counties to the west, typically the direction that the weather is coming from. In this case, we're just going to set it to single, and then we're going to hit select. So right now, you can see that it says empty. We're going to hit select again. You want it set for the United States, so we'll hit select again. And now we have to choose the state that we're actually concerned about. And it could be Missouri, it could be Arkansas, it could be Kansas, whatever state that you're concerned about, but you're going to want to scroll through and find that state. So there's Arkansas. If we wanted to set it up for Arkansas, we could do that right now. Or we could continue to scroll down through, and you can see it reads very nicely what state we're talking about: Georgia, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho. And we're going to just keep going until we get to Missouri. That's Mississippi. So Missouri. So now we're going to hit select. So what we've done here is we've told it the language, we've told it what country, we've told it that we're going to specifically alert for only one county, and now we've picked the state that we're concerned about, and we're actually going to go through the different counties, and in this example we're going to find Greene County. So we're at Adair right now. Again, just like you did with the states, you just scroll down with your arrow keys. I'll hold it down to just kind of speed up the process there. And we're now on Greene, and I'm going to hit select again. Now it's time to set the time on the weather radio. So we're setting the time for 2:30 in the afternoon. So you can see you have your hour right there. It's set for the AM, so we're going to have to scroll through until we get to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so now we have 2 p.m. and it's time to set the minute. So we're going to set it for 2:30. So now we've set the time for 2:30 in the afternoon. And the next step is to set the channel so that you can actually hear the weather radio broadcast. So you can see on our display right there it says set channel. It's telling you to do so. We hit select, and then we're going to take our antenna and raise it. Now I've got to tell you folks, we're in the studio right now, so it's harder to pick up that frequency. It's going to be a lot easier in your home to do this. Now with these new weather radios, you don't even have to go online and find the frequency anymore. It's as easy as just stepping through the 7 options that they give you. So here we are. That's your frequency right there, and we're just going to scroll through until we get the strongest signal. And that's a pretty good signal right there. You can hear that it's very clear. You can hear the wordage very easily. So now that we found our frequency, we hit the select button once more to lock it in. So you can see that we've locked it in. We've set the channel. Now the next step is basically to test the device. And you can see on our display right there it says alert test. And you can test it simply by hitting the select button once more. And to stop the tone, you just hit that weather snooze bar right there at the bottom. But what you heard right then is an example of what you would hear in the actual event of a warning having been issued for your county. You'd hear that exact tone, but you can actually change the tone to something more of your liking. Now you can change that tone just by simply hitting the up button, and now your display reads alert type.
Hit the select.
We hit select, and you've got the option of having it, when there is a warning, just read off what that warning is. You don't get a tone, you just get the voice.
Nope. Now you can scroll up or down.
Now you can scroll up or down if that's not what you'd like. You want the tone, which we've already heard, you could go with that. Or you could go with just simply a display. Now I would advise you to go ahead and set it on tone, and the reason why is you got to think about this. You're either going to be in bed or you're going to be in another room of the house, and probably the best sound to cut through is going to be that tone that you heard when we first tested it. Well, we've selected our tone and we're basically done now, and all we have to do is make sure that we save our settings, and we can do that simply by hitting menu, and it says saving, and everything is now saved the way you've programmed it. Well, now that your weather radio has been set up, you might want to test it, and the easiest thing that you can do is just hit the weather snooze bar right here at the bottom, and when you hit that, you can hear the weather radio broadcast, and that tells you that everything is working as it should be. We'll go ahead and turn that off. Now, for final setup, we want to make sure that this button is switched into the on position. And it'll tell you right there on the side, ensure the switch is in the on position. So we made sure that it's in the on position. And at this point, you'll also want to make sure that your weather radio is also plugged into the power strip, which is plugged into the outlet in your wall. And here's just one more reminder. You want to make sure that you change the batteries twice a year. It's just like your smoke detector. If you don't have a battery in it, it's not going to alert you when there's a fire in your home. And if we have a power outage and your batteries have expired, you're not going to be alerted when there's severe weather rolling through your area. So a good rule of thumb is to make sure you change your weather radio batteries twice a year, and you can do it exactly the same time that you're changing your smoke detector batteries, and that's when we either fall back or spring forward when setting our clocks. Again, thanks for joining us with this little web broadcast about how to set up your weather radio. Remember, if you have any questions about how you set up your device, if you've had any trouble, you can feel free to call us here at the TV station. We will help you either that way, or you can bring your weather radio by the TV station, and we'd gladly help you there as well. Thanks again.